clocks will tell you, once there's no demand, the clock will surely kill the vicious prey. Let them know they can sell you, leave it on their hand. The quality of life they can degrade. You say, I take full responsibility for all that goes down inside of me. And society bears the strain, economy feels the drain. Today's youth don't want no much, they want your brain. And it's so cool to be drug free, so cool to be healthy. I say boom boom boom, watch me boom boom boom. I am confident, self-assured, rebellious if need be, and I'm free, so the future belongs to me. Oh, oh, oh.
You can't face the days, you must get a taste. Putting things through the holes in your face. You nowadays, them a draw the line. Self-preservation, each and every time.
This is your turning period if you're on a substance, because you possess the will to say no more. Thousands of trained people will grab you at the first chance to make your life as useful as before. Errands, pop tranquilizers, prescriptions they abuse. All these double standards have to go. Positive influences you have to produce. There must be no dark cloud in this rainbow. Children say, I take full responsibility for all that goes down inside of me. Dope is death, dope is strife. It cuts you up like a knife. Children push and fight. There must be a better life. So cool.
On Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live, on the On Dependency Facebook page, and YouTube channel.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Dependency. I am Garth.
And I'm Natasha. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to our listeners on I-95.5 and our viewers on Facebook and YouTube. We have a full packed studio this morning. Today's episode is a little different, as you can see with the people in the studio this morning, because we are stepping back and allowing the young people to lead the conversation today. In studio, we have 17-year-old Chrisanne, 16-year-old Anya, and 19-year-old Zachary.
And joining us online is 15-year-old Sahai. These teenagers have a lot to say to the new government about gang violence in Tobago, minimum wage, the environment, domestic violence, and a whole lot more you'll hear from their parents as well.
So if you're watching us live on Facebook or YouTube, please drop a like, drop a comment, share the live. And let us know which issue you think the new government should tackle first, and we will be following the chats on both platforms.
And also you can tell us in the comments what issue matters most to you right now. We'll read a few during this morning's program. And as well, Tobago. Mm-hmm. We have some things to say to you too, but not before we listen to young Sahai Oliveira, who is out there in Tobago, and she's opening the bowling this morning. And we say welcome to her. Make sure we can hear her properly, and she's audible so that you, the listener, can hear her as well. Good morning, Sahai.
Good morning.
All right, so let's try.
She's talking, but we can't hear her just yet.
could unmute it to make sure your microphone is unmuted. So let's try again.
Good morning.
All right, yes.
You hear her?
I heard her very faintly. If you could speak
Let's
up a
try
little
again.
bit.
Are you all hearing me good now?
Yes, I think we'll hear you better when we put on our headphones, but yes, we're hearing you.
Tommy could put up some in the studio. Could we hear her in studio too as well?
And those of you online, let us know if you're hearing as well, please.
Sahai, let's try again. Can you say hello?
Hello.
Right,
There we go.
There we
Right.
go. How you doing, country?
I am good, and you all?
Nice, nice. Nice to hear from you all.
Yes,
Nice
what
to
is
hear,
the
and
weather
listen.
like in Tobago? It's very rainy in Trinidad today.
Yes, it's raining across there too as well, Sahai?
No, actually, it's dry here. It's very sunny outside.
Are you serious?
Good for you.
We'll send some for you, all right? Good morning, Chrisan, Anya, and Zachary.
Good morning.
And you heard it, folks. They are all in studio here with us this morning, and their parents, you're going to hear from them in a while. But we decided to do this because we think it's important for the young people to be heard as well as usual. We always provide a platform with you speak out here. And Trinidad and Tobago, they're getting ready to take it over. So it's quite obvious and natural for us to hear from them. So could we start with Sahai?
Yes, please. Sahai's topic is one of that is dealing with crime and violence, gang violence, in particular in Tobago. Now,
let's remind you who Sahai is.
Yes.
Remember Sahai? We hosted Sahai here, and these young ladies, after the counter-trafficking unit spoken word competition, Sahai emerged the winner of this competition. And I think she deserves a round of applause again. And Sahai emerged the winner of that counter-trafficking unit's spoken word competition with a brilliant performance that we all still remember.
Little fish eat.
Yes.
Big fish eat little fish.
Big fish eat little fish.
yes,
That's
we
right.
Remember. Mhm.
So Sahai, congratulations again. So take it away now. And you said, one thing you said that stood out to us was you thought was Tobagonians thought was a Trinidad thing. Take us from there. When did you take notice of this, and what was your reaction and your friends and family?
Okay, so as you already said, my topic was the recent uptick in gang violence in Tobago.
Yeah.
Well, we already know that gang violence has really been causing massacre in the streets of Trinidad and Tobago within the last especially within the last 5 years, you see. But we in Tobago always thought that, that's something in Trinidad. And we really had our heads buried in the sand, and we did not realize that Tobago too has a great number of gangs all over. And, people always said, these things, to be going to everybody, these things could never happen, but it really was happening in our country, and we were unaware until it was brought into the light by the government in last years, when it really became prominent that, Tobago is just as bad. Could we have rioting in the murder rate and everything.
You still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
You look kind of
We
frozen.
thought we just lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, so is what about the so when you, how did it affect, let's start emotionally first. How did you feel when you actually found out that this is not just a Trinidad thing, this is a Tobago thing too as well?
Well, to be honest, when I found out, I wasn't really, paying it much attention because still I was naive enough to like, we could never be as bad as Trinidad, on another, on another level. That man died of just now. I never actually sat down and said, oh my God, it's getting bad.
Now, have you noticed as well the uptick in drug use on the island? Is there a delay?
Yes. Well, I don't think I, that is something that's really publicized as much as gun violence, but I would definitely say that there is significant use of drugs on the island.
Right.
Do you
Because
think that is a contributing factor to the gang violence?
Can you repeat?
Do you think that the drug use is a contributing factor to the gang violence?
Almost definitely.
so what would you then, and did you think of anything, any suggestion, or what would you like to say to your chief set right now, who, let me not put you in the middle of this. Just what would you say? What would you say? What's any suggestion? Anything that you thought about?
Okay, so I want the government to re-establish positive views on public safety so that people are able to, share their current fears of crime and especially gang-related activities. Although these gang-related crimes are not really directly traceable to the government because the causes are really a separate dilemma, the government has a responsibility to protect law-abiding citizens. Because a lot of innocent bystanders are always killed during the crossfires. So for me, some initiatives that the government could take to improve to make improvements that I would support. Um, for example, the standing ground policy to protect law-abiding citizens. But I feel like the distribution of firearm license should follow strict guidelines and should be given only after citizens have been deemed responsible. They should perform thorough background check and stuff. Even through that, I don't think that will totally stop guns from ending up in the hands of people that will do more damage than good. But I don't think that any initiative that they could take would be perfect. But once they are, as I said, doing more good than damage, I think it will be effective. Something else I would say, probably stricter penalties to help deter gang-related crimes. As I said, many innocent bystanders often lose their lives due to stray bullets and all these kinds of things. And if the government would ensure that gang-related crimes are non-bailable offences that guarantee lifetime sentences or even death penalties, which are banned, and I believe that gang-related activity will definitely be reduced because of this. Or I would
I will
also
also.
love to see the. Go ahead. Sorry. I would
I would
also
also
love to
love to
see.
see.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would also love to see the government treating all points of entry to the island with a more strict manner. Locally, we have many unmanned coastal borders, and this needs to be urgently addressed to curb the flow of illegal substances and firearms into the country. Similarly, Similarly, through the airports and customs, there have been many reports of discoveries of barrels and boxes of ammunition and guns. And this is a major reason for the proliferation of gun violence perpetuated by the local gangs. Systems should be put in place, marine technology should be explored, and again, stricter legislative consequences for offenders. I believe that that would go far in curbing the continuing uptake of gang-related crimes in Trinidad. I'm not hearing a thing if somebody is talking. No?
Hello. So how you hearing us?
Okay, now I'm hearing you.
No, you're hearing me now. I was asking if you feel safe as a young woman, as a girl, as a citizen of Tobago. Do you feel safe?
I feel as though I wouldn't live in fear because it kind of sounds cruel but death could really come at you at any point in time. So I wouldn't say that I feel fear, but I'm aware of what is going on in the country.
Do you think you'd feel the same if you were in Trinidad?
Oh, most definitely not. I would definitely not feel safe in Trinidad, even because I have a lot of family in Trinidad and town in Trinidad. I'm always scared. I always want to be home. Like it's just, I feel like it's just a feeling that's always over me. Oh my God, something had happened. If somebody starts running in the streets, just casually, I'm just going to get really frightened. I definitely not feel safe if I was in Trinidad.
Interesting.
And further to that, do you think that Trinidadians are becoming desensitized to the crime itself?
Of course, I really believe so. Though I wouldn't say they're becoming desensitized, just like the deaths that are caused through the crimes. I think they also have more compassion for those, but the crimes themselves, most definitely.
So if there was one thing you would say to the new Minister of Homeland Security with regard to Tobago in particular, what would you say to him?
I would hope that um, you know, really put measures in place to, curb the violence in general. I feel like there's a lot that you could do, community outreach, a lot of stuff that you could do to have immediate that a lot of stuff that you could do that could immediately affect the rates of these crimes. But I feel like there are also measures that could be taken that would probably take longer, but it could still be effective, like community outreaches and all in all, just to help build a safer country for us.
All right, Sahai. So you see how is mommy? She's good.
Yeah, she's good. She's not here right now.
Hi, mommy. Good morning to you, and thank you very much too for allowing us to speak with Sahai this morning. Those of you who just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, And that's Sahai Oliveri out there in Tobago. In studio, we have Chrisan Bidesi, Anya Maharaj, and Zachary Rogers. Zachary Rogers, accompanied by both parents of Anya and Chrisan. They're here this morning. You know, we have a new government, and I am hoping, now we're doing this program with the hope that politicians have matured to a degree where they're willing to listen to young people. You know, it takes a certain level of maturity to do that, and I hope that we can achieve that today by reaching out to people who really need to hear what the voices of and what's in the minds of young people. I think that's only fair, and I don't think anybody should have a problem with this morning. I would still like, but just before we close, I would still like to address a situation with the new Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. Farley Augustine. You know, to take a page and probably reread a chapter of the Prime Minister's offering the first time she spoke to the country as the new Prime Minister, which is, we need to listen to everyone and treat everyone with respect. And I think, and I'm going to remind Mr. Augustine of something he said when he started campaigning the first time. I think he forgot that. So, because Sahai, my daughter, my granddaughter, they're from Tobago. And there's something that Tobago reads really bad. And Natasha and I are not going to rest until somebody finally decide to man up and do the right thing for the people of Tobago. We've been speaking about this before the first vagrant hit the street in Tobago. We've been speaking about this before burglar proof became a thing in Tobago. Look at the state of Tobago now. And the crime just yesterday. So, we'll go to a break. And Sahai, stay with us. We'll go to a break, and when we return, we continue this discussion with the young people, the youth speaking out this morning here in Trinidad and Tobago. We have another young person behind the board, so it's full of young blood in studio here this morning. Let's go to a break. We'll be back.
Yes, girl. Online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
Hola, my name is Elena. Well, it's actually not my real name. You don't really care, do you? All you care about is want to pay your money to my boss that I look pretty, smell nice, smile for you, and let you have good time. Enjoying yourself and doing to me whatever you want to do for the money you paid. What you don't see or know is that I don't get any part of the money you paid. My boss takes all of it. I am forced to work, taking as many clients as my boss tells me to. I am beaten, made to take drugs, and I cannot leave this kind of work on my own. I am a victim of human trafficking. Please, por favor, help me.
Join us this Sunday, May 18th, for episode 20 of Eye on Dependency, reality radio at its best.
From Scarborough to San Fernando, young people are speaking up, and they're not holding back. This Sunday on Eye on Dependency, we hand the mic to the next generation. Hear what teenagers, Chrisan, Zachary, Anya, Sehai, and their mothers want from the new government, and what issues are keeping them up at night.
I am not asking for perfect politics. I am asking for principled leadership.
I wanted to really address the forex situation with regular citizens and the access to forex.
I want the government to create stronger animal protection laws.
The recent uptick of gang-related violence in Tobago, we just thought it was a Trinidad thing.
Listen to Youth Speak Out live from 10 a.m. on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the I on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. The Counter-Trafficking Unit brings you I on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency. It is a special edition of Eye on Dependency. It's Youth Speak Out. We have Chrisanne, Anya, and Zachary in studio, and Sahai across in Tobago. And these young people, these teenagers, all have topics that they have come here this morning to discuss. And the next up is Chrisanne Bidesi.
Chrisanne,
Yeah?
before you begin to let us know what progressive leadership looks like to you, could you repeat that line that we have in the, I just love it, and could you repeat it for me, please?
Well, if I recall correctly, I said I'm not asking for perfect politics. I'm asking for principled leadership.
Tell us about that, please. What would progressive leadership look like to you?
Okay, well, I'm going to try to break this down like if it was being taught in school. So when we're being taught in school, our teachers, they like to give us a nice little definition to set us forth. So I'm going to define to you what is good governance. So I have a source according to the United Nations Development Program. Good governance refers to the structures, processes, and practices through which power is exercised in society to manage public affairs and resources in a manner that is 1. Accountable, 2. Transparent, 3. Inclusive, 4. Participatory, 5. Equitable, 6. Responsive, and 7. Efficient. These are the things that I am asking for from the new government. And it's really not that hard. It's actually the bare minimum when you think about what a government should be doing. And these are the points I want to discuss. They might not occur directly, but these are just principles that should be considered in the categories that I am going to be discussing today. So it's important that we understand that our government is very unique. We have a Westminster parliamentary system, so that means that we have an indirect democracy. And as we know, we don't vote for the laws or the prime minister, we vote for members of parliament. So because of that, good governance isn't an option. It is a matter of survival for us, because they are the people that make decisions for the people, even though they are not by the people, and therefore they must be to everybody's benefit. Even if our hands don't make the laws themselves, our voices should be heard in every decision made, regardless of class, wealth, race, or gender. Now, gender is a big deal now because we have 3 women just guiding us, and I think that's really cool. That's a really big deal. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a girl, but I think that Trinidad is heading down a very good future, not just Trinidad, but Trinidad and Tobago. So we have 3 women, and 2 of them, I'm very proud to say, are Anya and I's alma mater. They went to St. Joseph's Convent, San Fernando, so shout out to them.
Yeah, we can,
right?
we can pass that today. We can leave that fact alone.
But it's not about choosing men over women. It's about choosing leadership that serves. And if that leadership comes in the form of women who are ready to lead with empathy, strength, and vision, then I'm pretty sure that's a win for everyone. They've been in power for like a little while, but people are already criticizing their every action, saying that they aren't really making a difference, when in reality, we've had this very same situation, but in reverse. Between the years 2003 to 2010, there were 3 men in power. Let me remind you. So, our president was His Excellency the Honorable George Maxwell Richards. Our prime minister was the Honorable Patrick Manning, and our opposition leader was the Honorable Basdio Pante. Now, I would like to say first that this was a 7-year period. We had the opportunity to make a change, but we didn't, which is in contradiction to what we are doing now and opposing our 3 newly elected women. Now, during this time, there was an approximation of 500 murders per year by the end of 2008. Corruption concerns, that is where this time period is where it began. And of course, youth disillusionment was more prominent than ever. Yet, even though these men, yes, they did good stuff, they had a very long time to make a difference, but nobody complained and said anything. But now that these women are in power, in a short time, they are already demanding such harsh things when they now have to go and fix what damage has already been done. Is that hypocrisy at its finest? Yes, it is. So, I'm not saying that women are better than men or men are better than women. Women and men are complementary. One cannot exist without the other in succession. So, the fact is, according to UN Women and Pan Americans, they stated in 2017 that women's participation in political leadership has been shown to contribute positively to governance. The fact is women are bringing good things to the table. Having 3 women at the table isn't just progress or power, it is justice. It signals that leadership in Trinidad and Tobago is finally starting to reflect that approximately 50% of our population is women, right? It challenges the notion that power can only belong to a man. That is just wrong. It serves as a reminder that a seat at the table for women is a stronger table for all of us. Now, while I am not saying that, I'm definitely supporting these 3 new women, but I'm not going in with a biased perspective. There are things that I would like to see, and that starts with transparency and accountability. Too often, accountability ends at a microphone. They dress up, come, nails done, hair done, suit pressed, nice little pocket handkerchief. They say a few words saying that things are in motion, but nothing changes. Take crime and CCTV cameras. Since I was a small little wee girl wearing ribbons in my hair and a coverall to go to school, we have been hearing announcements about new surveillance technologies to help reduce crime. Millions spent, but ask anybody that lives in a high crime area, where are the cameras? Where's the footage when the crime actually happens? Where's the transparency about systems that are working and systems that aren't? Awkward silence. Crickets chirping. Nothing is said. It is not enough to hear that you are dealing with it. I want to see what is being done. Now, I am not just going to tell you, fix it. I'm going to tell you what to do. Build a public performance dashboard. Show me what you are doing. Release verified data and give me answers. Not ChatGPT ones and not ones that are just rehearsed answers. Trinbagonians are tired of talk without traction. It is time for leadership to be measured and not just heard. The next thing I want is for a better opposition. Has anybody ever watched a parliamentary debate? Let me tell you what it is like. One side would say something, pow, 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 and the next side would block it and they'd be like, pow, 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 back too. In this country, too often, Parliament feels like a boxing ring and not a place of national progress. One side is throwing punches and the other side is blocking and mocking. Where's the collaboration and shared responsibility? Not too long ago, there was a procurement legislation, and it was to make public money and how it is spent more transparent and accountable. Now, both sides claim to support this, but all we got was delays and political games. Make it make sense. We need an opposition that knows when to fight and when to build. Yes, you'll have opportunities to disagree, but don't just disagree. Tell them how they can amend and approve it, and not just when it benefits you, but when it benefits the country. This is what I want from our new opposition. Also, the government has to get with the times, not just in our constitutional reform, but also with our court cases. So, I would like to propose the analogy that our constitution is like a vintage car. It's classic, but on these bumpy, fast highways with people that don't respect traffic laws, it is no match. There have been promises about local government reform, yet we still wait on the sidelines. And yes, youth voices are promoted, but we are still at the back seat when it is our nation to inherit. Everybody is talking about sustainable development, but y'all not doing a good job because y'all are messing it up, and then we have to come and clean it up. And by the time the new term is over, we've just finished cleaning up one heap of mess when there's a whole ton left to be recovered. If we want real change, we need local leaders with actual power. Like, for instance, during the 2018 Diego Martin flood. Help was stalled because they were waiting on approval from the Port of Spain cabinet. Really? Really? That is wrong. Data protection matters too. And in recent times, we can't have data protection laws that don't exist. We need data laws with teeth to guard our personal information. Justice should not take 5 years to start a murder trial. It's time for local government reform, real data laws, and faster courts with more judges, which I'm pretty sure my mom will talk about later. Because if we don't upgrade the system, we'll keep spinning wheels while the rest of the world move forward, and we'll just be left, bye-bye, third world Trinidad and Tobago, while other countries continue to progress, and we just sit back and watch them do so. So these are just a few things that I would like to see. And I know you've heard a lot, but to close, I just want to say, we can't afford any more of the same thing. We need leaders who act, systems that serve, and citizens who demand better. But we also need citizens who do their part. The government can only do so much, but if citizens don't do their part, then it'll just be an effort in futility. The future isn't waiting, and neither should we. Everyone needs to do their part to ensure a better Trinidad and Tobago.
Aye, aye, aye. I feel like I'm in Parliament right now. Well said, Chrisanne. I wanna start by asking, what are the qualities do you think that women bring to leadership?
Well, we often hear that women are soft and they're like really emotional, but since when is having a heart a bad thing, you know? That just means that you're human, and we need more humane people who don't just think for themselves but have that natural maternal instinct to care for our nation. When I was looking at the inauguration with my mom, you know, we heard the newly elected Prime Minister talk about how she'll be like a mother. And I don't know if she'll hold her promise, but that is what we need. We need women who lead with empathy, strength, and vision. And I think that with women at the table, we are looking at a brighter future. And I hope that they don't mess up and they don't set women's rights back 50 years, because God knows we don't need any more de-escalation.
That was my follow-up question, because we often assume that as soon as a woman takes the reins of leadership, she's going to fix everything immediately, right?
Yeah.
But to my mind, we need to allow her, because of the fact that women have not been in these positions for as long as men have. We have to give her grace. We have to, of course, hold her accountable for the decisions that she makes, but support her in her leadership, allow her to fail, to make mistakes, to get up, and to serve the constituents who voted for her, right?
Yes, I definitely agree. Look at what Her Excellency the Honorable Mia Mottley has done in Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
She has absolutely changed the tide of Barbados, and she will go down as one of the best prime ministers. And not because she is a woman, but because she led her country with grace, intellectual capacity, and strength. And that is what we need from our leaders. Kindness, empathy, courage, and strength.
That was young Chrisanne Bidesi. And I think she deserves another round of applause for bringing this to the table this morning. Those of you who are listening, thank you very much. If you're just joining us, we have Sahai Oliveri out in Tobago, who is Sahai. Let me give you their ages who you're listening to here this morning. So Chrisanne, 17 years, 16-year-old Anya Maharaj, 19-year-old Zachary, and Sahai is, of course, 16. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. These are as you say, you love to say out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, right? So we're hearing them this morning. I hope we can listen to this discussion with an open mind. And please give them some encouragement while you're online. You just heard Chrisan, you heard Sahai earlier. And Sahai is in Tobago. And you all know what's going on in Tobago. I read news from just last evening about Tobago. That's not good. So thank you once again, Chrisan. Well
Any
done.
questions from the floor for Chrisan? She said a lot there, you know.
Sahai, any questions? Let me start with Sahai first. You have any questions? You listen to, I saw you listening very attentively. You have any questions for Chrisan or anything to add to what she said?
No, I think Chrisan left it all said. She explained very well.
You have any questions? You listen to, I saw you listening very attentively. You have any questions for Chrisan or anything to add to what she said?
No, I think Chrisan left it all exactly how she explained very well.
You have any questions? You listen to, I saw you listening very attentively. You have any questions for Chrisan? Yeah, we have a serious delay with this. Anya, anything you want to add to that? What Chrisan said?
No, I think she covered it all amazingly with such confidence, with such purpose. And
I just try, you know.
And I really want to congratulate you. You really got your points across, and I don't think there's any more to say. You really did it well.
Is that?
Definitely. Definitely, with respect to the data protection laws in particular. When I found out that you could go on the ABC website, know somebody's first name, their last name, and the month they're born, and you could find their address, that was pretty crazy to me. Like, I was finding all my friends, I found myself, and I was like, wow.
What? Say that again?
Yeah.
On the Elections and Boundaries Commission website, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, that is voter information. I mean, people need to be able to.
They should be able to find themselves, yes, but it should be like another layer of security, like to know their national ID number and stuff.
Each citizen should have we need to modernize. If each citizen has like a login password that they can be able to access their credentials, and only that person will have access to their information.
What about people who don't have access, one, to the internet, and two, to the skills to be able to manage technology?
We have YouTube, and YouTube is known for one thing: tutorials. And I guarantee you, once YouTube makes user-friendly tutorials, they'll be just fine.
You know,
So I guess the EBC needs to let the public know that the information that they have gathered on citizens in Trinidad and Tobago is safe, right?
Yeah.
Is that you right?
You know, as someone said, Rosemary Bishop said, who's out there in the U.S., this young lady is TNT's future. She spoke for all the young people in Trinidad and Tobago. I wish her all the best in her accomplishment.
Thank you.
You know, we've had several young people on Dependency. This was Kareem Marcel, Kyle Saunders, who works right here.
Yes.
There was a young lady. She's migrated now, Paige Ribeiro.
She's a mother now too.
Yeah, and the thing is, as soon as she was done, she was speaking on a platform in the UN, United Nations.
And taking pictures with the Chief Justice.
Yeah, you know, because they heard her and felt that she was a good representative to represent Trinidad and Tobago. And I think you'll fall in that category. I don't know if Anya will take over that just now when she comes on. But we'll hear from Zachary next. If you're just joining us, folks, you're listening to Dependency, and we're giving the youth a voice this morning. And in studio with us, with their parents, of course, we have Chrisan Bidesi, Anya Maharaj, Zachary Rogers, and Sahai Oliveri out there in Tobago. So let's go to a quick break, and what we could do, let's go straight to segment 3. We're going to hear from Zachary now before we go to that break. So Zachary
is talking about minimum wage and foreign exchange, and you in the comments online as well, tell us where you are feeling the squeeze the most, and how you feel about what Zachary is about to say.
So the first thing we should do is define what is a foreign exchange shortage. So it simply means that the demand for forex for the citizens as well as companies is greater than the supply. And as well, what is Forex? So foreign exchange should be any currency beside the country's operating currency. So like it's not only US, it's Bajan, EC, yen, euros, pounds and sterling, etc. Now, some similar countries, if you ChatGPT it or if you do your own research as well, that have simple or similar restrictions would be North Korea, Iran, Syria, Belarus, Cuba, Nigeria, etc. Now, that might sound a little daunting, but there are also some other countries as well with forex restrictions, like China and the Philippines as well. So why is there a forex crisis in the first place? It simply means that the countries like China and the Philippines as well, they are trying to stabilize their currency and maintain the exchange rate. So in Trinidad, the TT dollar is pegged a little higher than it should be, and the government has been trying to stabilize that for quite a while. However, that has caused the actual shortage itself. So, in the closing of Petrotrin in 2018, the government would have stated that Petrotrin was bleeding money. However, if we had actually floated the currency and did the necessary conversions, we would have seen that Petrotrin wasn't actually doing as badly or hemorrhaging as much money as it should have. So, that would have contributed to the shortage. As well, this is not like a new problem. A lot of people would have only started to pay attention to it when the credit card limits would have started to be dropped for the various banks, Republic, Scotia, RBC, etc. But if you look at the central bank statistics going all the way back to 2017, the sales of Forex to the public would have greatly outweighed the purchases of Forex from the public as well. So central bank would have been injecting millions of US and other foreign currencies into the market since 2017. That's a lot of years, right? And it's only recently that they said, okay, it's reaching to a point now where the foreign reserves are falling to a certain level. We have to start to restrict some of these foreign exchange currencies. So, the situation basically, again, is the public demand will outweigh the purchases of Forex from the public suppliers from authorized dealers. Now, while a lot of people may say this is the government's fault, unfortunately, the government does not actually determine what the authorized dealers or the banks will do with their foreign exchange reserves. What they were supposed to be doing, though, is monitoring the Forex situation and saying, hey, okay, clearly central bank is injecting too much currency into the public sector, and we need to start to look at some ways in which we could actually bring in some more foreign revenue. If we're going to close down Petrotrin, what will be our next option? We can't rely on tourism alone simply because the carnival season, we learned this in Caribbean studies, is a seasonality kind of thing. So even though we might have brought in, I believe it was 95 million US this carnival season, we have to spread that out until the next carnival season as well. Because unlike other Caribbean countries like Jamaica, where they are a tourist destination, tourists come there heavily. Yes, Trinidad is a tourist destination, but not as much as the other Caribbean countries. So we can't simply rely on tourism alone and the energy sector to bring in all of our reserves or all of our foreign currency. We needed to start to look at direct foreign investment, attracting foreign investors to say, hey, come to the country, let's get some Forex in. So there was that as well. Now, with respect to the credit cards, this is where it starts to affect particularly youth and the upcoming youth as well. So Republic Bank would have released in September 23rd, 2023 that their US limits were dropping from 5,000 US to 2,000 US for new customers. Existing customers would have maintained their credit card limits. And after, they would have dropped their limits for new customers recently to 500 USD, which is the equivalent of about 3,500 TT. So even if you have a salary of 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 TT, the most that they are willing to offer you is a credit limit of 500 US, which is nothing. That's not even a plane ticket to Jamaica, far less anywhere else. Scotiabank as well, they would have dropped their limits, and recently Scotiabank also announced that customers that have more than 2 credit cards, their third card would have a US limit of 100 US. So that was the article that came out on, I believe it was Newsday, where the headline was Scotiabank to apply US 100 limit on some credit cards. That was for a customer who the card was actually for son in the US studying. So his limit would have went from whatever to only 100 US, which is not much at all. And then you also have RBC as well, where their limit would have been cut by 73% in 3 months. Their US limits would have went from 7,500 US to only 2,000 US. So the banks started to slash the credit card limits, and that is when people started taking notice. Now, as well, what is happening? Beforehand, we used to tell citizens, you have your credit card, you don't really need a lot of cash when you're going across there. It's a cashless society, etc. But now that we're dropping the limits of these customers and their credit cards, and we're not giving them the cash, we are limiting the mobility of our citizens. They can't go out there, they can't enjoy their life, they can't even go out for business trips, etc., because they simply don't have the funds. We are localizing citizens in Trinidad and Tobago to simply Trinidad and Tobago. So you're reducing their freedom, you're limiting their mobility, and you're also constricting purchases to the local market alone. You're not allowing them to import their own goods. Now, in Trinidad, a lot of people will say, so why is Trinidad and Tobago the only Caribbean country that is having this kind of forex shortage compared to the other Caribbean countries? Because we're all in the same region. The issue there lies with actually our consumer habits. So we have been importing more and more products as compared to what we have been exporting. And the import habits of Trinidad as compared to other Caribbean islands is really high. So whereas in other Caribbean islands, when you visit, a lot of the products, maybe 90 to 95% of those products are local products. If you walk in a grocery store in Trinidad, 90 to 95% of our shelves are not local products. They are imported products, meaning we're spending forex that we don't have to import these products for citizens to buy and consume. So that would also contribute to the forex shortage. But the downside to that is it's okay to buy imports when you yourself are not the one importing. So these companies are getting the forex to import these products for you to buy. But if you want to buy your own iPhone, you don't want to go in iWorld and buy it from a registered seller, you want to buy it directly from Apple, you can't do that now. Your credit card limit, if you just apply it, is only 500 US. I don't even think an iPhone is 500 US.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Sorry.
As well, teenagers or people, if you've ever been on TikTok, you will hear them complaining, these Trinidad clothing stores. They'll buy something on Shein for 10 US and then sell it for 500. But now, with the drop in the credit card limits or the drop in the forex use as a whole, regular citizens are being forced to play into these clothing stores, and they just here laughing and smiling. They already have their goods, they have their supplies, and now we are being literally constrained to be or forced to purchase these products that are grossly overpriced. And as well, we have a growing economy. I know a statistic would have came out that we have the 7th worst economy in the world, but that would have been debunked quite a while. But moving on to that, sorry about that. Another example is Hyatt. I'm not sure if you'll remember in October 2024, and Hyatt said they will no longer be accepting TT cash, but they will be accepting US cash, euros, etc. As well, I've heard some hotels, they want you to pay with credit cards. They don't want you to pay with debit cards at all because they want to charge you in US dollars, which is crazy. You're a Trinidad-based hotel in Trinidad, and you don't want to accept TT cash. You're devaluing your own currency. It's not making sense. As well, I don't want to talk too much on the commercial side, but small business owners and medium business owners, they have to pay suppliers. They have to pay for their supplies, and they're not paying on time. So that will also affect it as well. Also, with respect to that, in Caribbean studies, we have been talking about trade liberalization and opening ourselves to the global market. And now we can't do that because we simply don't have the purchasing power to do it. As much as I would hate to say it, the TT dollar is really becoming or having no value outside of Trinidad and Tobago because we can't purchase our forex to do our various transactions. And it's really forcing us into a box when it shouldn't. The whole process of trade liberalization and creating an open market was meant so that everyone, companies as well as individuals of the public, should be able to trade on a fair playing field and purchase from where they want to. They shouldn't be forced to simply focus on the local market or local products alone. They should have that option.
Question. Where does that position Trinidad and Tobago then in terms of the region and the CARICOM market?
I'm not too versed in CARICOM or the CARICOM market, but I know that we have oil and gas, and we have the tourism sector as well. We're bringing in a lot of forex. It's just our demand is just outweighing it quite a lot as compared to the other countries as well. Yeah. Because they would have been managing their forex reserves for a long time. Trinidad, again, since 2017, Central Bank has been injecting millions of forex into the system to try to circumvent or to try to stabilize the currency. And now we're feeling the effects of it. Even as early as 2021, Republic Bank would have dropped their credit limits from 12,000 US to 10,000, and then the subsequent limits would have been after that. So it's been a problem for a long time. It's only now that consumers are feeling it because their actual purchasing power is being affected.
You're listening to that's Zachary Rogers, not the Minister of Finance. Let's I busy studying how I get in food later. This man have all of this in his head here. Zachary, well done. Excellent, man. Wow. I cannot add anything to that. You know.
I mean, it's amazing that these issues are being, dissected by young people. It's amazing that these issues, thank you, are being dissected by young people because, I mean, as a 50-year-old woman, I am not diving into the Forex issue. I mean, that's not my forte, but the issues about the economy are often seen as very difficult to wrap your mind around. But you did a very good job of breaking it down and making it understandable for everybody who spends money and has a concern about their country's economy.
Zachary, your future plans, you said you want to be a doctor, right?
Yeah.
I think you should rethink that, yes? Because you did a fantastic job. I would have just sat there and listened to you with dumb face look. I don't know what you were talking about. But you educated us this morning.
Indeed.
And we want to thank you so much for that.
Indeed. I have another question, though, and the floor is open to anybody who has any other questions. What are your views on the fact that the global economy now is pegged to the US dollar, and there are some countries who have deliberately moved away from that for many different reasons? How do you think we should proceed as far as that is concerned?
We have good relationships with both the China and US as well. So I don't think we should veer away too much from the US dollar, but what we should really be focusing on is actually bringing in the foreign exchange. We're focusing on, Carnival, cool, but Carnival again is a seasonal thing. Carnival is not something that lasts all throughout the year. We need companies to come in, whether it's from the US or other countries as well, to come in and say, okay, if Trinidad has given us some tax breaks, we'll set up our company here. Let's establish a relationship with them, and that could be a forex generator. I don't think it would be wise for us to move away from the US dollar just as yet. However, we do place a very high value on it. And a lot of people, yes, the TT dollar is being devalued, or yes, the TT dollar doesn't have much purchasing power, but it's still our dollar.
Yes.
We shouldn't be bad-talking it as compared to other currencies.
True. Because in comparison to other Caribbean currencies as well, I think we more or less still up there.
What I wanted to find out, though, and Natasha and I had an experience when we were in Canada once. We walked from bank to bank to bank to bank with 5,000 TT, and nobody wanted to touch it.
Yep.
Nobody. And I mean no bank. They just, I say, well, like it's monopoly money we have. They just did not want. They said, no, we sorry, we don't do Trinidad currency. And this was like 6 years ago. It really hurt to know that.
Startling.
And it was startling too to know that. I mean, just so many people know about Trinidad and Tobago, but our money is not valuable out there at all. And that broke my heart. And I'm not fooling. But if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency. We go to a quick break. We have Anya, Chrisanne, Zachary, and Sahai out there in Tobago. And I know with regard to tourism and all of that, Tobago is taking a hit too as well.
Yes.
We have an idea that we like to share here before we go. And I'm going to play 2 voice notes that I sent to Mr. Fali Augustine that I got no response from. And
it's one form of tourism that can generate revenue year-round.
Millions of dollars for Tobago. We'll even show you what we would like to see in Tobago, set up in Tobago, that can bring in health tourism. I don't know how to say this again. We don't know how to beg, but we will continue until someone listens. Maybe it might not be under him, maybe another chief sec, but let's see. We could only try. All right? So when we return, you're going to hear from Anya and her advocacy here this morning, which is also very powerful. So you're listening to Dependency. Remember to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, let's try and catch up to Facebook. And those of you who, if there's any politician listening, at least can you
send them a message.
Send a message on
Tell them
Facebook
to
or YouTube and
tune
congratulate
in.
these young people
Yes.
for the job that they're doing here this morning, please. As you can see, they've been very balanced and they're educating us. Let's go to that break. We'll be back.
Ah, boy. Feel like going and buy myself a senorita tonight.
Nah. You know you might be promoting slavery.
Slavery? What you talking about?
Hey, modern day slavery or human trafficking is just what some of these people just do. You know some of these women were tricked to come here? Some are held against their will, abused, and even beaten. Most times the girls don't even see any of the money that is paid for them. And every night, they just have to come out looking nice and sexy for somebody like you. Human trafficking is a serious problem and a serious crime. Persons who solicit commercial sex services may be contributing to human trafficking. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Slavery, a terrible time in our history. The kidnapping, buying and selling of people for profit, the exploitation of another human being. It still exists today. It has a new name, human trafficking. Anyone can be a victim. There is forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem and an emerging concern for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. If you know of or suspect human trafficking activity, call the Counter-Trafficking Hotline at 800-4CTU or 800-4288. Human trafficking is a crime. Identify it, report it, stop it. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Do you want to support our work at Eye on Dependency? Here are 3 ways to do so. You can make a donation to the Eye on Dependency account at Republic Bank. You can follow the Eye on Dependency page on Facebook. You can subscribe to the Eye on Dependency channel on YouTube. Liking, commenting, and sharing the live on a Sunday also helps. Thanks in advance for your support.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency, and a very special edition of Eye on Dependency is EOD Youth Speak Out. We have in studio Chrisan, Anya, Zachary, and online we have Sahai from Tobago who's still with us. Now we are passing the microphone to Anya, who is going to talk about animal welfare and the environment.
Anya, welcome and thank you very much for coming.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So today I wanted to talk about why I want stronger animal protection laws, and I think that there are too many animals, stray dogs, cats, and even wildlife that are abused, neglected, and there aren't any real consequences for the people responsible. Because I know people that when they have dogs and they make babies, they put them in garbage bags and dump them on the side of the road. And I think that is a real problem because they are animals. Animals have feelings. Animals are living creatures. You cannot abuse them like this. You cannot expect to fix the problem by creating more problems. And fix the problems. The government should make more shelters. It's very important to make more shelters. And I think stray animals suffer daily. I see every day, I see cats starving, dogs starving. I see them injured or being chased, and honestly, it breaks my heart to see that. And I think the government needs to put systems in place for rescue shelters and more sterilization. So I think all female animals should be spayed and male animals should be neutered. And I think that even if you want to breed your animals, then you should have a license to do so. Because I had as I said, my mom lived in England for a while, and they had laws against that. And I think that's very important to implement in Trinidad today, because, as I said, I go to school and I see these animals suffering on the side of the road, and I hate to see that. I hate to have to see them starving and have to dig through garbage just to find something to eat, and I don't want any creature to have to live like that. And I think people often harm animals and they laugh about it because people don't realize that it's not a joke. You can't just see animals starving and have the mentality that, oh, I can't do anything about that. Yes, you can. We as a society can do things about that. And yes, we need the government to make more shelters, but we also need to play our part in helping them control this. So, and I think by doing this, we can teach respect through law. And I think when we create laws to protect animals, it teaches people, especially children, especially the younger generation, to be more compassionate and responsible. And I think we should, as I said, with more shelters, we should teach the younger generation that we have to respect our environment. We have to take care of our environment because this is our home. This is our home, and we can't just sweep it under the carpet. It's not like that, because if we don't fix it now, what's gonna happen in the future? What's gonna happen when you grow up and the air is polluted? You see people are dying because of cancer from pollution, stuff like that, and we need to control that now. And I think we, as I said, we as a society can do more stuff to implement stronger laws. And our wildlife, we have an amazing wildlife. We are called the land of the hummingbird. So how can we have that name and we don't take care of our animals? How can we have that reputation and every day there are animals dying on the side of the road? And as a country, we, especially around carnival time, there is we make a lot of money from tourism. So when they go to the beaches, when people come and they go to the beaches and they see it littered with trash, with garbage, what are they going to think? And they aren't going to want to come back, because that is part of who we are as a country. We are known for our gorgeous beaches. We have a beautiful country. I'm an outdoorsy person. I love to go on hikes. And when I go there, as I said, it's littered with garbage. People don't take it back with them. As I said, I live by the motto, leave only footprints, take only pictures, because that if we implement that into our real lives, then we won't have such a problem in Trinidad, such a problem with pollution. And I think we can fix that as a society. And yeah, that is why I want stricter anti-pollution laws, because our environment is quite literally suffering. Rivers are full of garbage and beaches are pollution. And it isn't just ugly, it's dangerous for our health, marine life, and the planet. And we are the next generation, and we're supposed to care about this. And even though adults may ignore it, some adults may ignore it, we the youth want a cleaner and greener future. And if laws aren't enforced now, we'll be left to clean up a disaster we didn't create. And pollution affects everyone, rich or poor. Air and water pollution they don't care about social status, whether it's smoke from burning trash or plastic in the oceans. We all suffer. We all suffer because of this. No matter if as I said, if you're rich, you're poor, it affects everybody. It's going to affect everybody. You don't want your children to grow up in an environment where you have to tell them, oh, there's nothing we can do about that. That's just how the world is getting. No. Same way we created these problems, we can't fix it as a society. There isn't, as I said, this isn't something you just have to sweep under the carpet, because we can't, this is God's creation, and we can't just treat it like it's something, it's just something to, throw away, because it's not. This is our home, this is our land, we have to learn how to take care of it. And I think climate change is real, and we are feeling it. We experience floods, we experience heat waves and disappearing coastlines, and we are becoming, and this is becoming a normal thing. So if we reduce pollution and if we slow down climate change, and we protect our island, we should take pride in our country, because this, as I said, this is our home. We cannot just let this get worse for the next generation to come, because that is not how it's supposed to be. And I think Trinidad and Tobago is a beautiful country. We have beautiful beaches, we have beautiful nature trails, we have so much animals and wildlife, and we need to take care of this. And I think, why let pollution destroy that? Enforcing environmental laws shows that we respect our land, our people, and our future.
Well, you all are well aware of how excited I got when I heard Anya's topic, right? And I think there's a good harmony between both topics, because in my view, animals, whether they're companion animals, whether they're farmed animals, whether they're wildlife, they share this planet with us. They are not here for us. They are not here for us to be eaten, to be entertained by them, to have them work for us. That's my personal view. And to me, your attitude towards animals, regardless of how they serve you, speaks to your attitude towards the home that we have, this blue spinning ball in the galaxy that we all share and that we have to protect. So if we pay more attention to how we treat the people, that the beings that we share the planet with, it will automatically redound to us protecting the habitats that we all share.
And I want to add one more thing. I want to encourage people to search up how the inhumane ways people poison animals just to get rid of them. Because yes, we have a lot of strays, but do the right thing and carry them to a shelter, which is why we need more shelters. People think that you can just poison an animal and kill them. I've seen firsthand what that looks like. When dogs are poisoned, they throw fits, and they spend the last moments in their life in pain and suffering. How would you feel if that was you? Same way, an animal is a living creature, just like you, just like your family. We shouldn't treat them like this, and that is why I think we need more animal protection laws, because that is part of who we are. That is part of our country. Animals were here before we were here. Therefore, we should respect them. We should take care of them. That's what we should do.
Agreed. Anybody has any questions for Anya? Sahai, how you? I know in Tobago is slightly different in terms of the treatment of animals. From what I hear, I don't know. What's your feeling about how animals are treated in Tobago?
Country. Animals were here before we were here. Therefore, we should respect them. We should take care of them. That's what we should do.
Agreed. Anybody has any questions for Anya? Sahai, how you? I know in Tobago I'm not seeing her talking.
All right. Let's
I think she's going to say something, but
but if you're just joining us, we'll try and hook up with Sahai again, because Tobago, it is still Trinidad and Tobago, as far as we all know. And what concerns us concerns them. What concerns them should concern us too as well. So we're going to hook up with Sahai in a moment, but if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we'd like you all to continue to send in your congratulations to these young people who came in all this, despite the inclement weather. They came from San Fernando too. So just remember that with their moms. And so let's give them some love. Let's give them some encouragement. These are our future leaders, and you hear with the nation in good hands. I can tell you that. As a matter of fact, Anya and Chrisanne too, as well, were part of the counter-trafficking units, Ministry of Defense. That time was National Security, but Ministry of Defense spoken word competition. And as I say that, let's share a spare thought for Imani Miller, who is, have a little struggle with her health right now. She was the third place winner in that competition. Second, sorry, I'm so sorry. Yes, second place winner. So you
I placed third.
Third, okay, right, yes. And yes, but Imani is not doing too well. So you all send some love to Imani.
Yes, Imani. I hope you're doing okay. And we really miss you. The program is not the same without you, and I hope you're doing better.
Yes. Yes. So So please continue with your encouragement for these young folks here who sitting with us this morning and educating us. I learned a lot already, especially from Zach. And just to put the candle on the cake for Anya. Anya, you're so correct. Trinidad and Tobago nationals are really nasty people, some of them. And I'm using the word nasty here because that is what I see too as well. Sometimes I will go Shagamas just to take a little dip, just by, just what they call where the
boardwalk.
But yes, oh my God, what it is wrong with walking with a bag, and when you finish, whatever you use, you put it in a bag and leave with it. What is wrong with that? It blows my mind that.
Big people with children in tow will go to the beach, eat the KFC, and drop the box and leave it there.
Yeah, and drink water, leave the plastic bottles there.
Come on.
When if you, sometime on a clear day, if you look into that water, it is filthy. It is littered with all types of cups and pans and you name it. It is right there.
And all of the litter that we throw even on our roadways, it ends up right back in the sea,
That's right. So Trinidadians, stop being so dirty. Yeah. Stop dirtying your country. When you go to the river, you go to the river Lime and walk with a garbage bag. Go and buy a pack of garbage bag. You're spending a lot of money on rum and food and all these things. Garbage bag cheap. Walk with a garbage bag so that, in the military we call it break and patch.
What?
So when you break and patch. So when you finish, you break camp and you patch up everything around you so that nobody will know that you were there.
Right. Break and
Oh God,
patch.
we could do it. It is not difficult. It is not difficult.
Agreed.
We need to that's where we need to improve a lot, boy. We've fallen back really bad. And people are still capturing other folks, pulling up with pickup trucks and dumping garbage in places where if nobody going to see them. And you need to stop. You need to stop.
And dumping animals the same way, like garbage, and what Anya mentioned about the spay and neuter. I have been calling for that a national spay and neuter campaign for all domesticated animals, strays or no. Even if you have animals that you are caring for, as a responsible pet guardian, you should have them spayed. Even if you are so-called breeder of pedigree dogs and or cats, there needs to be some regulation around that because some people are even importing animals from overseas and breeding them, and there's no regulation around. People pay $4,000-$5,000 for a dog when there are dogs in TSPC and all about who are looking for a home. So what are we doing about regulating pet ownership and enforcing the laws that we already have on the books and maybe beefing them up to stamp out the cruelty and to address the stray population? Because it really is distressing. There are a lot of people who go out of their way to assist these stray animals. They go and feed them every day, but they are not supported. That is the other thing I was asking for in terms of government support for these organizations that shelter and rescue animals. They need the support of the state in order to continue the work that they do.
All right, so let's switch gears now, because most of the young people, they had their say, and we have them in studio with us this morning. We want to hear about domestic violence from awareness to action from others. And who's going to speak with that?
Anya's mom, yes?
Yes. Anya's mom. Right? And then we'll hear from Chrisan's mom. Because Chrisan's mom told us something that blew our mind just recently. And I want you all to hear this too. It's Ms. Prasad Bisesa, you all have a lot of work to do. Trust me. You all have a lot of unfixing to do and fixing to do. And, we could only pray and hope that you all manage to do it. And, we get to that point. But you're listening to Dependency, courtesy the Counter Trafficking Unit. Ministry of Defense.
So now you're going to hear where these young ladies get their gumption from.
Yes.
We're going to hear from their moms. Remind us of your name, please, ma'am.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Narina Sukdev. I am Anya's mom. I am privileged to be called Anya's mom.
Right.
I would like the government to address issues concerning domestic violence. The reason being, I am very blessed to have the opportunity to deal with many underprivileged families. And as a result, I come into, and it's not to say that domestic violence exists only in underprivileged families, it's just that is where I was first introduced to it. And what happens is that I see many women, because they are from underprivileged families, because they are not working, and they are experiencing domestic violence, whether it be physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, there is something called financial abuse. They cannot get out of it because they have nowhere to go. And so what I was looking at from our government is not only financial aid for women in these positions, but also housing aid. And I will tell you why. Because we do have halfway houses, right? And the halfway houses, they offer a lot of assistance. I will give you an example of this one particular mom that I was trying to help. She has sons, no daughters. However, one of her sons was over the age of 18. And the halfway houses do not allow male children over the age of 18 to live with them. And we can understand why, right? But what was this mother to do, right? She was being beaten on a daily basis. She was ending up in the hospital a lot of times. She lost hearing in one of her ears because of the way she was beaten.
Wow.
Right? And she's asking me, so I told her, I said, well, why don't you go to the police and why don't you get a restraining order? But then how can you have a restraining order when you are living in the same house with the said person who is beating you? So then you say to the person, well, don't you have somewhere to go? And she does not have anywhere to go. We started to call around to the different halfway houses, and that's where I started to learn about the limitations of what a halfway house or any sort of shelter for battered women, the limitations that they have to offer. So then this woman would only be able to stay for a certain period of time in these homes, right? Whichever home it was. Of course, they have to eventually become self-sufficient. They would have to look for a job, but able to period of this home. But if you have younger children, or in some of the cases that I were women stay-at-home moms before, so many of them are not qualified, so getting a job is not an easy thing. So how then do you become self-sufficient? Yes, you may say you can get domestic work, but some of these moms also have children who suffer with cerebral palsy or have some sort of disability. So in this particular mom's case, she couldn't take with her her eldest child, who was still in school, by the way, and she had to leave within a certain time frame. And then she asked me, she said, so when I leave the home, who is going to protect me when he comes after me? And I had no answer for her. So the end result of her choice, the choice she made in the end was to stay and continued to be beaten. And it was really very sad. You know, we have legal aid in Trinidad and Tobago where these women can get advice, but honestly, And I went to the legal aid website and I saw that in 2021, there was 1,300 reported cases of domestic violence. I want you to listen to how this thing escalated. In 2022, that figure rose by 400. And in 2023, that figure doubled. So you could imagine what it is now. And these are just the reported cases. These are not even the unreported cases. And I mean, out of these cases, within a period of from January 2024 to August 2024, there were 28 murders from domestic violence. And, you know, I do believe that if the government could put some sort of housing aid in place, in particular with consideration for women in such cases, then we may be in a much better place. There is prevention and there is intervention. So what I just spoke about was the intervention part of it, because there are already women in this position and we have to find a way to help them. There are many different scenarios of why women cannot leave their abusers, right? My example was just one scenario. Many people say, well, why they put themselves in that position? Or they will say, well, why they keep having more and more children? But I remember when I was younger, I was just in my 20s. And just to let you all know, I'm far from my 20s now, right? And I started to work in a halfway house. I'm a mathematics teacher, and I went to just teach mathematics to teenagers who were young mothers, and they were victims of domestic violence, and they did not as yet have their CXC certificate. That's what we used to call it in those days, not CSEC certificate. And I started to chat with them and say, you know, well, why do you keep having children? You will not believe that some of these young mothers did not even know how they got pregnant. One. So we judge them, but we do not know their experience. And then when you ask them, well, why you keep having children? When a drunk husband comes home and he rapes you, you can't say no. You can't say, I don't want to have any more children. So we look at these women in these situations and we judge them, but we really do not know what they are experiencing and going through. So yes, we can do the prevention part of it, where we continue to teach our young women and our young men about relationships. We teach our young women how to choose good spouses and, you know, and be involved in good relationships. We teach our young women how to value themselves. We teach our young men how to respect themselves and respect women, and so forth. That's a crucial part of it. But we also have to deal with the intervention part of it and deal with the women who are now in this situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's an important topic that we have to stay on top of, because domestic abuse, alongside the high rate of femicide that we have in this country, is alarming. But I don't think it's being addressed by the group of people who are perpetrating these crimes, i.e. men. That's all I will say about that.
You know, and I mean, I agree. And, you know, we have reached out, because you said something that's very significant, that we have had calls constantly on. Man come home drunk, is either you take licks or you just lie down and take it. And there are a lot of people living like that today. And we've reached out to the rum distillers here, Angostura. Very often we've tried, and we hope one day they will come on board, join us, this NGO, to so that we could do a little more public awareness and have more interviews with people who have experienced that abuse at the hands of a, because alcohol, even though it's legal, it's still a drug. And we hope that we have people in Angostura who will be open-minded to not just give away scholarships, but also educate on the product that you're selling. Even go so far as to put labels now on your products, on the back of your bottles. Put a pregnant woman, so that people will know there's a thing called fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Yes. Don't hide that from the public. There's such a thing exists. And I know you're doing succession planning, but we need to still warn people, because there are people who cannot handle the alcohol, just like there are people who cannot handle drugs and other drugs. All right? So that was Anya's mom. Thank you once again, my dear. Now next from Chrisan's mom. Now, Chrisan's mom had something very interesting that she wants to share with you that made us and all, cringe when we heard it. But good morning, ma'am. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Susanna Kathleen Douglas. My married name is Bidesi. About 13 years ago, divorce was filed against me, I should say. Yes, and my divorce proceedings started. And this is in regards to the family court and the judiciary and all those things. And the procedure started, and social workers and we have 2 children, my ex-husband and I. I don't even know if I should say ex-husband. We have 2 children, and the proceedings started, and after 13 years, last year, Chrisanne was supposed to travel, so we ended up going to get our visa and stuff, and only to realize that I was still married and my divorce was never finalized. And I was truly blown away, because I got the first, which is the nice eye. Yes, and I was waiting for the absolute, because I was not the petitioner. I did not receive. I thought that I just didn't receive mine, but it was there in the system waiting for me. So I went to the family court and stuff, and emailed people and called people, everybody I knew and stuff, only to realize that my divorce was never final. And I was just blown away, because I was thinking that it was and stuff. And looking at it now, I realized that when I went, I spoke with the person downstairs, and she told me, well, it just has to go upstairs, but it hasn't reached upstairs yet, so we just have to wait. I went there about 5 times. Leaving South, I went there. We have to wait, you have to wait, and you have to wait. And then finally, now I had to go back and speak with my lawyer now and tell him this has been going on for many years now, and I would really like it to be finished, and we had to file and all those things. And finally, in June, I believe I have to go to an online session where it will be finally granted. But between those 13 years, a lot of things transpired as a single mother with a daughter and my son, who is now 23 years. And with regards to custody, and single parents and stuff, it's a lot of running around. It's a lot of conflict and stuff when the 2 people are not mature enough to put the welfare of the children first, to put the needs and the priorities of the children first. So with regards to the court system and stuff, every year we have people graduating from
law school,
all these institutions yes. with degrees and PhDs and their masters. I'm sure we have some in psychology. We need more workers in these places. We need more social workers. We need more inquiring about what is going on in the welfare of these children, because these children become affected when the parents are going through all these things. It's a lot for the child. People look at my daughter, Chrisanne, and feel that it was an easy journey in raising her, but it was a lot of counseling on my part, a lot of humbling myself for peace and all these things, because you can't get to do as you want with regards to the welfare of your child, because you have to consult somebody else. You have to consult the father and the other person, and they have their issues. So sometimes it's like a war with you and the person for the welfare of the child. You're not doing anything to hurt your child. You just want your child to be able to be exposed to something positive, something good, something that will help them grow and stuff. But because of childish and immature behavior, sometimes you hear a no and you have to listen to what that person say, because you have joint custody, you have this and you have all those things. So what I would like to see is a more proactive approach with regards to divorces, custody, hearings, and all these things being executed, and putting the welfare of the children first, the needs of the children, the priority of the children. Children need more than just money every month in the bank. Children need more than just money in the bank on a monthly basis. They need help to do homework. We want it to be a more comprehensive approach to the upbringing of the child, where the fathers become more involved. It's not just for the father to go and pay the money and that's it. We want more involvement. And also, as a woman prime minister, a woman opposition leader, and all these things, women, we are different. We see things differently with our children. So we would like our voices to be heard with regards to the welfare of our children. I know of a person, and because of the rift with the divorce proceedings, a child has to stay 3 days, Monday to Friday with her mom, and Thursday and Friday with her father, to go to the same school. That is instability.
That's messing up the child.
You want stability for your children. You understand? So sometimes, even though it might be right, yes, the father, I'm not saying that the men are not entitled to seeing their children and all that. I am saying that when it comes to the welfare of the child, stability of the child, the environment that the child is in, we must investigate it. We must know what is going on. And most of the time it's the women and the mothers who know.
Absolutely.
It is what it is. Most of the time it's the mothers who know. Most of the time it's the mothers making the sacrifices, paying the extra lessons fees, picking up and transporting these children to school, doing it every day, giving them extra lessons, carrying them to do whatever because they need to talk to a counselor. They need a speech therapy. The father saying, well, you don't need that, you talk good. You understand? And all these things.
But Susanna, I would have thought that your matter going through the family court would have provided that very approach that you're speaking of, as opposed to a regular court.
Personally, my situation was a lot of movements was taking place with my children. When the social worker came, my son was living in a certain place. Then, like in 2 weeks' time, he wasn't there anymore. So as far as the social worker knows. So if we investigate these cases more, which is why we need more workers to investigate the cases, we would know what is happening.
So you're saying the magistrates themselves need more information about the matters that they are presiding over?
Definitely, yes. And talk to the children with school, the teachers in the schools and things. Sometimes the children fall through the crack because they feel as if nobody cares. They feel as if nobody knows what's happening with them because daddy wants me Tuesday and Thursday and all that. The children need stability. If it's one thing with Chrisanne, we went through a lot. Chrisanne went to 3 primary schools. 3 primary schools because of my divorce and stuff and moving and stuff. But the foundation was always me with her. You understand? After this fall apart and that fall apart and stuff, we need that constant. As mothers, I want to encourage single mothers to be that constant in your children's life. make nothing else more important than your children. So I'm just asking that with regards to the family court and stuff, we be more interested and do more investigation with regards to all the cases and find out what is really happening.
Yeah.
Not just talk with the children, talk with the parents, see what environment that these children are going in, because sometimes the environment is what is toxic.
Correct.
And the children are suffering.
But why do you think, Susanna, why then, if the single mother is the one with the majority of the burden of child raising, why do they get such a bad rap? Is it because the men in these, or the fathers, are not taking responsibility for caring for their children, or they think as a part-time thing, or what? What do you think is the reason for that?
I think that with regards to that, sometimes the men feel that their money is enough. You understand? They don't. That's why we women, we are nurturers, they are protectors. So the men feel that their money is enough and they could just provide the money and the children and them will be fine. But as a human being, we have other needs and the children will have other needs. So the women always have to fill in the blanks, whatever it is. If this is short, we have to do it. This is just how it is. We have to do it, and we will continue to do it because this is who we are. I was listening to a video the other day with the NBA players, LeBron James and all of them. Most of these men were raised by single mothers.
Absolutely.
We need to give single mothers more, what?
Support.
More honor.
Yes, absolutely.
More honor, because they do a lot in our society.
Yes.
Single mothers, because sometimes we leave the domestic situations that Anya mom just spoke about for the welfare of our children. We leave the abusive environment to go and sleep on the floor. So our children will have peace in the night.
Right.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We do. We walk out of marriages because it's not working. It's not fulfilling, and we leave for our children to have a certain environment which we know would produce a better child, a more holistic child. So that's what I want to say.
Well said, my dear.
Thank you very much.
Well said. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we had a really nice, tight discussion here this morning with Anya, Chrisanne, Zachary, and Sahai out there in Tobago, and you just heard from Anya's mom, and this Chrisanne's mom just contributed, and all of them made valuable contributions. If you joined us late, then remember you can return to this program when we come off the air. You go to our YouTube or Facebook channel, look for Dependency, and you can get the program from the beginning. So before you run out of time, let's go back to Tobago, and Sahai. Yeah, Sahai is applauding. Thank you, Sahai, and thank you for being so patient with us. I know we're having technical difficulties, my dear, but thank you. Now, all this is being recorded. Shortman, I want you to know, and I want to hear from Sahai as well, and I want everybody in this studio to tell me if I was disrespectful to Mr. Fali Augustine, and how you think we should go forward from here, because like I said, I'm not giving up on this idea of a rehab facility in Tobago. But let me just say, with regard to the politics that we come accustomed to, Mr. Augustine, I urge you, as we say on the ground, come down from dinner.
Keep that out of it.
You see, this is Trinidad and Tobago. And as much as you all want to secede and all of that, it's okay. But it's still Trinidad and Tobago. Like I said, my daughter is from Tobago. My granddaughter is from Tobago. And Sahai, this young lady, and all her friends, they are being, if you don't know, a lot of unsavory characters targeting these young ladies right now. And I urge Anya and Chrisanne in this studio to keep your head on, even you, Zachary, because drug pushers do succession planning too as well. All right? They don't intend to go out of business. Be careful. Right? Chrisanne, Anya, there's that young man will always try to get you to go out, to give you a number now, and when they get you in a line, they give you something to drink, and before you know it, you having problem explaining to your mother what happened last night. Be careful. Trust no one. I'm sad to say this, but trust no one. I know what I'm telling you all right? Now, on the 1st of May, after listening to Mr. Farley Augustine, when he started campaigning the first time, he said he had a friend who he went to school with, and he's a drug addict now, and that hurt him so much to see. That's the first time. Mr. Augustine, I heard you spoke nothing about that since then. So as I normally would do, I reached out to Mr. Orwell London some years ago, and he was the only chief sec who actually gave us that respect as an NGO. He invited me to meet with him. I sat with him at the Radisson, and as we sat down for breakfast, he asked me, Garth, how bad is it? And I explained to him how bad is it and how bad it's going to get. Well, since then, it has quadrupled. You all listen to this and tell me if I was disrespectful to Mr. Farley Augustine. First, I sent a message on the 30th of April. No response. On the 1st of May, no response. And on the 6th of May, no response. I tried calling, no return call. We have to change that style of politics. And you're a young man, Farley Augustine. I'm older than you, I'm sure. You need to have respect for even senior citizens. There's one time, yes, I don't want nobody here call my Uncle Garth. Not one soul even think about it, right? But I want you all young people in this studio to tell me if I was disrespectful. So, short man, play the first clip, B. Play B for me, please. Mr. Farley Chavez Augustine. Good morning, sir. My name is Garth St. I'm the host of the radio program Dependency on I-95.5 FM. And you, I'm sure. And first of all, congratulations are in order. That is one hell of a victory. Yes. Despite the odds. Congratulations on the same. And the reason why I'm contacting you is because I don't have a number for your assistant. But we would like to have a conversation with you as we've tried in the past and we weren't successful. But we hope this time we will be via telephone, or if you'll be in Trinidad, it will be nice on the 18th. Our program is Sunday mornings from 10 to 12. But on the 18th of May, we plan to host some youngsters. They were part of the counter-trafficking unit spoken word competition. The winner emerged from Tobago. I don't know if you even know that. Sahai Oliveri. And we just want to get their thoughts as youngsters, what they expect from a government, a new government. So we're hoping to have you on the line for a short, not to keep you long, to discuss Tobago. One area that we are concerned about, which is rehabilitation. So if you're willing and able to have that discussion with us, because we also show stuff online, because we also live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So it'd be nice to show you what our idea is for Tobago to make money with regard to health tourism. So I hope you all would accept the invitation unofficially as it is here, and let me know if there's a discussion you're willing to have with us. Not confrontation at all, but carefrontation. Because this is something we have been, and I'm sure you probably would have heard, we have been clamoring for Tobago. Right? I am wholeheartedly in support of Tobago, and we hope that we can have this discussion with you. All right? So congratulations again. And
videos on our end. But suffice it to say, Garth, you could just summarize what you said to the chief sec.
Literally, so put up the pictures now, short man. Put them up.
It's a video, actually.
It's a video, right? Put up the video. This is what we wanted to show Mr. Augustine. And Sahai, you'll tell us what you think about this too. We, Antigua right now, making US money with their facility. Look at this facility, right? And you can see it when it comes up there. This is called Crossroads Rehabilitation Center. It is a beautiful place, and they're making tons of money from health tourism. Tobago can afford to do this for their citizens, not their citizens alone, but there are a number of people. There's a huge fentanyl crisis right now around the world. And listen, a lot of Hollywood stars and their children are caught up in it. Look at this beautiful place, right? They now resorting to go to Caribbean islands to rehabilitate. It's a bit expensive, but you can make it available to them and to locals as well. Look at this beautiful setting. That look like Tobago, right? That's not Tobago. That's Antigua. And we have tried, and that voice note, I played that voice note for you all because I wanted you all to see I didn't try to disrespect the chief sec. I humbly requested of him to have a little chat with us this morning, look at this facility and tell us what he thinks. Then you, the people of Tobago, you, the people of Trinidad
I
and
met
Tobago,
some friends
tell me
who
if you
they're
think
dealers,
that
crack
Tobago is deserving
cocaine.
of this,
I followed them to
so that people can
a
come and
home
rehabilitate.
where
Mr.
they
Augustine.
their storage, where they keep their
and
stuff.
Dependency be on it there
And there was this
23 years.
big bag, like a
For the
flower
past
bag,
15.
full of crack. And I was specifically told not to touch it. But knowing myself and how adventurous I am, I took up some and I sprinkled it in my joint, and that I was out. I felt high for days. For all those years, I became really addicted to the point where my body now depended on it. One day, I got a seizure. That was my first seizure. I lost my son due to smoking and drinking while being pregnant. And then now I started to get seizures when I don't smoke. I was carried back to Crossroad. I was awakened to a really, really different feeling. I need to stop this. And then I started to feel tired. And I started to think about my mom. I don't want my mom to die before I stop smoking and drinking. And I started to think about all other people around me that I've hurt. And with the help of the Almighty Father, I'm sober for a number of years. And Crossroad has done all this for me, and I'm grateful.
For them to come to Trinidad to rehabilitate.
I'm sorry, my eyes is wet, but I'm
Let them
really
stay in that
grateful.
environment where their family will be closer to them, so that it will be easy for them to rehabilitate. Am I asking for anything wrong here? Have I been disrespectful? Folks in studio here, can you all tell me? Let me put back on you.
Think about all other people around me that I've hurt.
Tell me, anybody?
With the help
Zach,
of
you
the
heard it?
Almighty
You tell me.
Father, I'm sober.
You think I was disrespectful to the
For a
chief?
number of years.
Not at all. You were pretty
Crossroad
respectful.
has done all this
And
for
it
me.
makes sense again,
I'm
especially since my topic was about the economic part of it as well. It will benefit the people of Tobago, and it will also benefit both Trinidad and Tobago economies as well.
Right. And Ms. Marat? Ms. Sugdeo, sorry. Am I asking for anything?
I found I'm not sure if the voice message came across, but what I heard, it was extremely respectful. You were very eloquent in the way you asked and you requested. You did not demand, and I think that what you are asking for, it is of so much value, because we have men and women who need to be rehabilitated from so many different things, right? It's not just alcohol. We have all the different types of drug use. You even have people who need to be rehabilitated from anger issues, right? So many different things, and families are being destroyed because of this.
Yes.
And so I think it is of extreme value to have that rehabilitation center in Tobago as well. So thank you very much for that.
It's an excellent initiative. If the minister feels that was disrespectful, that's on him. But you were very cool and collective, Garth. you know, and this is love of country. What I hear is passion and love for country to make Tobago better. And it's necessary too because we have so many people, as was said before, needs help with drugs and all these things. And this could be a place where even international people could come as well and get help as well. It doesn't, we don't have to limit it to Trinidadians alone coming to Tobago. It could be people from different countries as well.
Yeah.
Finding a safe place and a safe haven to come and get better away from all the paparazzi and all that. You know, in America, when somebody go on drugs, the whole world has to know.
Yes.
This could be a safe place, a safe hiding place. So
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent initiative. It's an excellent idea. If I were Mr. Fali Augustine, I would come to a meeting with you and let's discuss this. It's excellent.
Mr. You see, the thing about it is, I waited. You see, when I started sending these messages, right? Now, let's look at it as, go back to what young 16-year-old Chrisan said about principled leadership. Where is the principle here? Is it that because I'm from Trinidad, and it's really heartbreaking that you treated with this discussion like this, Mr. Augustine, and I hope you will remember what you said on the platform, because sometimes you all forget what you said. You said on the platform you had a friend who is a drug addict. Where's that friend now? Have you seen him lately? I'm sure he's not in a rehab facility. Tobago needs a rehab facility, and drugs are a part of your crime situation right now, whether you like it or not. We try to stop it. We try to make the intervention so you all can do the prevention, but you all never listened. Like I said, only Mr. London listened. And as soon as Gavin Cole passed away, everything just went downhill from there, and nobody cared about reopening the facility. So what you all going to do? Now you have dozens of addicts running around that small island. You're crazy. Tourists are not going to come. I know how this works, right? Maybe the UN or the United States Embassy here puts out a statement and puts a warning not to go to Tobago because they don't have a rehab facility for the addicts, then you will respond. Why does it has to be like that? Listen to the NGOs. You all say NGOs help too to run a country. So this NGO have been begging you all. Look at that beautiful facility we just saw in Antigua. That was set up by Eric Clapton, who was he's a recovering cocaine addict himself. I am tired now, right? And I'm getting even more tired now, knowing that for the last 10 years I waited to be that person to go around to the schools and to go around to continue with the defense force and all these things. It never happened. God knows why. But who better to tell you about drugs and how the journey will happen than somebody who actually used it and survived it? Who better to tell you all about it? But for some reason, we don't recognize people like us. And I remember deceased Wayne Chance would say something ever so often. A wise man learns from his mistakes, but a wiser man learns from other people's mistakes. I'll leave that with you, Mr. Augustine. You don't have to speak with me, but you still have a problem on the island, and I hope one day you and your Secretary for Health will deal with that situation once and for all. You didn't need no steering committee to do nothing in Tobago any longer. Just build the rehab facility or reopen Trek. Start with that while you look for the all-inclusive one that we just showed you from Antigua, where you could pull in more foreign exchange. You heard a little man this morning here talk about foreign exchange and the problem we're having. So it's up to you all. Sahai, let's come to you and let's close up, man, because we are just about 5 minutes before the news, 4 minutes. So you have 30 seconds. But you you can take still have that a and problem on the sit. island, and I hope Close one off day with you us for and us, your Secretary please. for Health will deal with that situation once and for all. You didn't need no steering committee to do nothing in Tobago any longer. Just build the rehab facility. Unmute your mic. Start with your that microphone while is you look muted. for the all. Showed you from Antigua, Still where you open. could pull in more foreign exchange.
Something is wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man this morning here talk about foreign exchange and You're not the take off problem these we mics have. on me every day. So it's up to you all. Sahai, let's come to you and let's close up, man, because we are just about 5 minutes before the news, 4 minutes.
Hi, you
So
hear
you have
me?
30 seconds. You can take that and sit. And I hope close one off day with you us for and your us, Secretary please. for Health will deal with that situation once and for all. You didn't need no steering committee to do nothing in Tobago any longer. just build the rehab facility.
Or we
Unmute
open
your
track.
mic.
Hello, you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I. Go ahead quickly.
Okay, well, I don't really want to say too much on the matter that's between you and Mr. Valley Augustine, but I just want to say that it's very admirable that you are so passionate about this topic, especially for the fact that you are in Trinidad and it isn't directly affecting you in any way. And I just want to say thank you for the help that you have offered thus far.
Sahari, thank you so much, my dear. And all the best to you and mommy. We will keep in touch with you. We will call you after the program, all right? So thanks for your time. God bless you. Zachary, let's say your final closing comments. You have 30 seconds. Anya and Krishan, come, let's have your closing remarks. And
Well,
keep
I'd
sending
like-
your messages for them, please. Go ahead.
What I'd like to say is that these are not just ideas that we would have come up with last night or the night before. These are things that we would have been speaking about and thinking about for months, some of us even years. For me, who's older, the foreign exchange situation is not something that just came about. Animal cruelty and animal abuse is not something that just came about, and good governance has been here forever. So please, we're just begging you to at least listen to what we're saying and at least give youth voices a chance.
Anya?
I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and for the opportunity to let me express my opinion on all these matters. And I agree with you 100%. Yes, you are in Trinidad, but you care so much about what is going on in Tobago, and even though it doesn't directly affect you, I agree with Sahai, you still care about it. I just want to say that yes, we can do something about it, and instead of just telling people about it, is one thing to show them, it's one thing to show them what is actually going on in the country, what is actually the actual problems affecting the country. And I really want to thank you for the opportunity again that we get to express our opinion. And yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Suzanne?
Okay, so yes, thank you for providing us with the opportunity to serve as advocates, young advocates. So to recap, I definitely do think that it's not too late to turn the tide of drug abuse in Tobago. They are our sister island, and we should do everything in our power to ensure that they do not live the same fate that we are already experiencing. We know what effects drug use has on our citizens, and now we should do our part to preserve Tobago. Tobago should not have to feel the brunt effects of drug abuse. Additionally, foreign exchange is so important. We have CARIFTA and CARICOM for a reason, and if we had just focused more on importing goods that we so regularly import from American and international countries, we would not have been in such need and crisis for foreign exchange had we just participated in intra-trade among our CARICOM and CARIFTA countries. There is a reason we have free trade and trade liberalization, and we should take full advantage of these organizations that have been set forth for us.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear.
We heard a lot today from these young people who are sharp, they are informed, and they are ready to hold the government to account. But the question remains, who is listening?
If you missed part of the show or want to explore these topics further, head to our Facebook page, YouTube channel, or our new website, independency.org.
And for our online viewers, thank you very much for your comments and shares, and let's keep the conversation going.
Until next Sunday, God's willing, stay safe, stay sharp, stay engaged, keep this eye on dependency. And you all, let's give a round of applause for yourselves this morning. Thank you all. Have a good week. Please be safe out there. Remember, be careful what people offer you, with what you consume. You don't have to drink all the alcohol. And walk with a garbage bag when you're going to the beaches, please. And keep it clean. All right? Tanika, thank you very much. Major news up next at 12.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Church of the Holy Family Mount Lambert presents Mayfest, Sunday 25th May at the Mount Lambert RC School Court Ground, 8th Street, Mount Lambert, starting with Holy Mass at 9 a.m. and followed by the blessing of the stalls. Come and enjoy a fun-filled day of entertainment and fun with the family. Music by DJ Studio 9 Family. Lunch available from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Lunch tickets $65.